If your income is high enough, and that, anything close to, high six figures, if your income is at that level and you're changing your residency, you're going to get audited.
I think Monaeo is a great product in defending against audits. It's just a fantastic advancement for the taxpayer and such a great tool compared to hiring somebody to manually keep those records and paying someone a full-time salary to do that. There's really no comparison.
It's the level of sophistication and cross-checking of data that has really changed the dynamics of audits these days. States have a lot more information available to them, and with computers they're able to cross-check all sorts of information. Here in New York City, if you get a parking ticket more than a couple of times, there's a very good chance you might get an audit notice because they know you're here, and either you're a very sloppy tourist or you're working in the city, in which case you probably owe New York City taxes.
The auditors will generally start the audit with the assumption that the taxpayer spent 365 days in New York.
Auditors require hard evidence. They want proof. Proof is all that's admissible in court, and proof is what resolves audits.
The burden of proof is on us. Essentially, we have to prove a negative. So, for instance, if you have a number of days where there's no proof that the taxpayer was in New York, but there's no proof that they were in Vermont or in Massachusetts or in Florida, the auditors are going to say the taxpayer was in New York because you haven't proved to me that they weren't. Well, can you do that with a calendar that you create yourself? No, because auditors think you could put anything you want on the calendar. None of those records can help you prove the negative. Monaeo fits in there.
I'll tell you about one of the recent cases that I had a client who lived in Connecticut and who worked both at his corporation's offices in Connecticut and also at their offices here in Manhattan. That was a problem because he had to be able to prove that he wasn't in New York too many days. How do we prove what day he worked in Connecticut, what day he worked in New York? There were days where he'd start his day in Connecticut and end his day in New York. We had an audit for this individual maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it didn't end very well. Then this client was advised about Monaeo, and for the second audit, the combination of Monaeo and the records demonstrating where he was each and every moment of each and every day, the audit was resolved very quickly, and there was a no change, which means he won completely.
If you do have an audit that goes 2 years, and you have to have 10 different meetings with auditors, and you have to go through Easy Pass and credit cards every single day of the year, audits can cost $40, $50, $60, $70, $100,000. If you can cut that off by having, something like Monaeo, the savings right there is tangible.